Fidel Castro and New York kids. He might have been considered a dictator by some, but in this photo El Comandante shows off his soft side. All the kids are wearing fake beards to resemble him, and he seems to be enjoying it. And it all would have not been strange if those kids were Cuban, but they were not, they were actually American. Hard to imagine today, but it happened in 1959 during his visit to New York, just after he took charge of Cuba and before the US sanctions. Times they are a-changing. The first McDonald's store. You wish the price of the burger was 15 cents as it was when the first McDonald's store opened in San Bernardino, California. Most of the successful companies started small, so did the McDonald's. They've come a long way since then, with many restaurants worldwide, drive-thrus and birthday parties with the clown. Their first restaurant serves as McDonald's #1 store museum now. Can women compete in Boston Marathon? This question might seem strange today, but until 1972, women were not allowed to race in Boston Marathon. It all started in 1967, when Catherine Switzer enrolled for the marathon, but the race official, the notorious Jock Semple, tried to take her number away during the race, as can be seen in the photo. Her boyfriend, who was racing too, stopped him, and she managed to finish the race. It still took another 5 years to finally allow women to race officially. Birthday in Iran 1973. This picture is significant as it tells a different story about Iran and the women living there. This kind of setup and outfit is not what we expect from the country presently. Let's travel back to 1973 Iran, and this is one example of what it looked like back then. A woman is celebrating her birthday in Tehran by cutting a cake wearing a beautiful dress. If we consider the current rules, women are instructed to wear the hijab. The outfit worn here can lead to punishment as it's illegal considering the current rules. Iran has witnessed a drastic change since. Flight attendant. Flight attendant is a dream job for many ladies. And they often look glamorous in their uniforms. But in the early days of commercial jet airliners, certain outfits were done in a way that would not necessarily be acceptable by today's standards. In 1959, SAS Airlines started using interesting, rather short uniform. As can be seen in this photo, what a good time. John Lennon's last photo. John Lennon signed an autograph to Mark David Chapman the same day that he later shot him in front of his New York residence. As Lennon walked into the archway of his apartment at the Dakota, Chapman fired 5 shots at Lennon from a few yards away with a Charter Arms undercover .38 special revolver. This picture was captured by an amateur photographer, Paul Gorish. Chapman planned to murder Lennon for a long time, and he finally did it on December 8, 1980. Apparently, he was angry with Lennon for claiming that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, as well as for the lyrics to the songs God and Imagine. Chapman is still alive, serving his 20 years to life sentence. James Dean in his Porsche. He was the rebel without a cause, one of the first Hollywood hunks that became a cultural icon. James Dean may have played only in 3 movies, but his legacy is huge. This is his last photo before he went on a drive that eventually ended his life at the age of only 24. You could see in his smile that he had the lust for life. Especially fast cars. Like his beloved little bastard. A Porsche 550 Spider. Michael Jackson in the year 2000. In 1985, Ebony magazine published the article Portraits of the Stars, What They May Look Like in the Year 2000 Foot, featuring many celebrities popular at the time. For Michael Jackson, they predicted that he'd age gracefully and increase his fan base tenfold. It is hard to judge the number of fans, but it did keep increasing over time. As for the looks, whether it was due to a skin condition or plastic surgery, it is safe to say they were wrong. Though, you can't really blame them. Sport and smoking. This photo from 1978 showing Johan Cruyff smoking during the halftime shows how things change in time. He might have been the greatest football player at the time, but his habits were not what would be considered exemplary today. But things were different then. People were much more down to earth and devoted to what they were doing, not for money, but because they enjoyed it. And they might not sacrifice everything to be successful, but rather enjoy the life as well. Capturing John McCain. During a bombing mission over Hanoi as part of Operation Rolling Thunder in October 1967, John McCain was shot down, seriously injured, and captured by the North Vietnamese, as shown in this photo. He was a prisoner of war until 1973, where he was tortured, but refused an out-of-sequence early release, before all the American POWs captured before him. After the war, he turned to politics, until his death in 2018. Left or right? On the 3rd of September 1967, Sweden changed from driving on the left-hand side of the road to the right-hand side. Needless to say, it did not go smoothly, as can be seen in this photo. It even became known as the right-hand traffic diversion day, since quite a few people were late to work that day. It might seem simple enough, but habits are hard to change. Wonder how long did it take them? Store within a store. This photo was taken in London in 1900 and shows what was probably the smallest store in the world ever. It was more like a storefront without the store behind it. But though times require ingenuity, and this man surely did not lack any. He opened a shoe shop in the window of a beverage store. After all, you might need a refreshing lemonade or soda water after trying on some shoes. 5 megabyte storage 1956. This huge box is not any big machine or computer that is being transported from one place to another with the strength of over 4 people involved. It's a hard drive with a storage of 5 megabytes. That amount of storage and such enormous size of the hard drive. This storage was leased for $3,000 a month by the company, that is equivalent to $30,000 today. In contrast to this, we can carry more than 32 gigabytes on our phones daily. While 5 megabytes of IBM storage could only hold around 6 photos, that would not be quite helpful in the present generation of unlimited selfies at one time.